functioning autism, square frame glasses, a love for chocolate malts with extra malt from Culver's. This is Sebastian Rogers. When a child goes missing, we often look for a breaking point, a fight, a slammed door, or a suspicious car. But in the case of 15-year-old Sebastian, the world didn't end with a bang. It ended with the quiet goodnight on a Sunday evening in Hendersonville, Tennessee. What followed was one of the most exhaustive searches in Tennessee's history. 2,000 miles on foot. Canines tracking scents to retention ponds, and investigators sifting through a landfill in a totally other state. But today, over a year later, the bed in Safford Court is still empty. Today we're walking through the minute-by-minute timeline of the night Sebastian vanished, the forensic glitches that led the internet astray, and why law enforcement is adamant that this case is far from cold. To understand this case, we need to look back on the days leading up to February 26, 2024. On Thursday, February 22nd, Sebastian talked to his bio dad, Seth Rogers. By all accounts, it was a normal check-in. 2 days later, on Saturday, Sebastian and his mom, Katie, went to dinner. Then comes Sunday, February 25th. This is the last full day Sebastian is confirmed to have been seen. It was a busy day for a teenager. He and his mom, Katie, went to BJ's Wholesale Club and then to Strike and Spare to bowl. They had dinner at 6:30. When they got home to Safford Court around 8 o'clock, Sebastian did something completely ordinary. Just like any teenager, he had to take the trash to the curb. At 9 p.m., he told his mom goodnight and went to bed. Now pay attention to the next few hours, because they've been scrutinized by everyone from the TBI to the amateur sleuths. From 10 p.m. to midnight, Katie was on the phone with her husband, Christopher Proudfoot, Sebastian's stepdad. Chris was away for work, but they talked for 2 hours. Around midnight, Chris told Katie she should go to bed after she'd been falling asleep on the couch. Everything seemed quiet. Everything seemed safe. Until 6 a.m., Monday morning. Katie went to wake Sebastian for school. He wasn't there. She calls Chris immediately. Her words were, "I can't find him." Chris asks what she means, and she tells him, he's not in the house. Think about that moment. The immediate panic. Katie starts driving around the neighborhood, scanning the sidewalks for a boy in a black sweatshirt and sweatpants. At 6:03 a.m., Chris contacts the police. By 6:40 a.m., he's calling and texting Sebastian's dad, Seth. Seth gets the message around 7:20 a.m. After getting off work, he rushes to the house by 8 a.m. He's so distraught that he stays there all day, eventually falling asleep in his car, just waiting for his son to walk back through that front door. But here's where the real clue appears, and it's haunting. At 7:54 a.m., less than 2 hours after he was reported missing, a canine dog named Max picks up a scent trail. It leads from Willow Boulevard towards a retention pond. Where deputies get to the edge of the water, they find something that stops them in their tracks. A footprint, a bare footprint, in soft dirt. It's February in Tennessee. It's cold. And if those footprints belong to Sebastian, it means he left the house without shoes. The response was massive. By Tuesday, an Amber Alert was issued. Colder temperatures were moving in. And, for a child with autism who might not understand the dangers of the elements, every hour mattered. Searchers covered over 2,000 miles. They brought dive teams from Franklin Police to help too. They even drained a pond east of the house and got nothing. Then, March 4th, the search took a dark turn. Investigators crossed state lines into Kentucky to search the Hopkins County Regional Landfill. We saw the photos. A white tarp. Investigators sifting through mountains of trash. This was a precautionary measure for the public. It felt like law enforcement knew something that they wasn't telling anybody. After days of sifting, the results were negative. No evidence. The TBI eventually released a statement asking for patience, explaining that they couldn't share everything because they had to preserve the integrity of the investigation. But that silence created a vacuum, and the internet filled it with theories. As April turned into May, the investigation hit a wall. Seth Rogers was publicly calling for the FBI to take over the entire case, terrified that his son's disappearance was going cold. There were moments of false hope, too. In May, a photo of a teenager in North Carolina started circulating, and for a second, everyone thought it was him. Authorities had to step in and confirm it was not Sebastian. And in late 2025, there was another heart-wrenching almost moment. On November 23rd, a photo appeared online of a teenager who looked remarkably like Sebastian. Again, the sheriff's office had to review it, and again, they had to tell the public. Sorry, it's not him. Let's talk about the flashlight theory. A neighbor's camera captured 2 moving lights near Sebastian's backyard the night he vanished. It looked like 2 people with flashlights. But investigators did an incredible piece of forensic work here. They created a daylight overlay with a topographic map. They proved those lights were actually truck headlights flickering through the trees from a hill about 300 yards away. Then there was the green hoodie. A video from the restaurant showed a person in a green hoodie talking to Katie and Sebastian. People thought it was a secret handoff or something, but it wasn't. Investigators found the person, and they were just a regular at that restaurant, and they were cleared. But there's one digital evidence that is, in fact, real. Investigators found that Sebastian only had a few contacts saved in his phone. But when they imaged the device, they allegedly found an outgoing call to a number that wasn't saved in his contacts. Both Katie and Chris have taken polygraphs with the TBI. Seth has not taken a TBI-administered one, though search warrants have been served for all the properties that were involved. Law enforcement continues to say that the family is being cooperative. In the years since, the search hasn't stopped, even if it has changed. We've seen the United Cajun Navy join and then withdraw, citing threats. We've seen Seth Rogers hire private investigators and plea for the FBI to take the lead. In December 2024, Sheriff Eric Craddock stood before the cameras and said, "It's not a cold case. They still meet weekly. They still track every tip." On December 7, 2025, Sebastian turned 17. The community gathered at Culver's for his favorite, a chocolate malt with extra malt. His mom, Katie, sent a message saying how grateful she was that people were still spreading the awareness. Because that's what this case needs. It needs awareness. Law enforcement is now saying that while he was reported missing on the 26th, the last confirmed sighting was actually the 25th. They've updated the FBI reward posters to reflect this. There's a $50,000 reward for the information that brings him home. Sebastian Rogers is still out there. He's about 5'5", 120 pounds, likely still wearing his square frame glasses. If you were in the area of Shafford Court or Beach High School on the night of February 25th, please check your dash cams. Check your ring cameras again. Did you see someone walking? Did you see a car that didn't belong? If you know anything, call 1-800-TBI-FIND. Again, that's 1-800-TBI-FIND. Don't wait, because as Sheriff Craddock said, if you see something, say something immediately. We need to get on the hot trail. And let's